This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast. And this is a discussion of what makes a great product or store. And this is a fascinating discussion. I think it's a fascinating discussion. So my daughter, who's a New York resident, a young professional, was insistent that we go to some gelato ice cream place called Anita's Gelato. And me, I'm always a skeptic. I hate lines. I get claustrophobic. And this had a line of 40, 50 people long. And I'm always a believer that anything has a line of 40, 50 people long, it's really a gimmick. And it's really, at the end of the day, a trend. And it's not necessarily good. And so I usually take that mindset into it. But the point was yesterday, sometimes there's a reason why something's hot because the quality is so good, the service is so good that they're doing something time after time right that people want to indulge in that product. I mean, we have a similar place in our area at home called Hometown Coffee and Juice, which is now expanded to 3 stores. It's owned in part by brilliant billionaire investor Eric Kafkowski. At least that's my understanding. It's owned in part by Eric. But in any event, they've done such a crazily good job of staffing and service and food that it's always crowded, it's always busy. And I think this fascinating thing about the interplay of the right quality product and the right staff service when others are trying to be so cautious on staffing. This Anita's Gelato had magnificent product and a ton of people behind the counter, so that things move pretty well. Grader's Ice Cream does the same thing, the national ice cream chain. There's always a number of people working, so it seems to be along well. And this Hometown Juice, when everybody else was getting rid of staff, they were hiring and keeping people and did an amazing job. I mean, the real tribute there is, I know I mentioned Eric Kafkowski, who I believe is a partial owner, but the real tribute goes to Lou and Julie Rubin, the husband and wife team that own that. But again, this concept of what makes a place great, it's this great mix of a great product and great service, great staffing, and the places that overskimp on staffing, sooner or later have in trouble because customer experience goes down so much. But fascinating to watch, and thank you to my great guide, Chloe Freed Becker from Price Waterhouse, for showing me this wonderful place, an example of great service and great staffing at Anita's Gelato in New York City. Thank you for listening to the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast.